Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another edition of MKM Live. We come to you every Monday morning at 10 a.m. with a couple quick tips and tricks to help your small town, small business improve your social media presence. So today we are talking about how to stand out from the crowd and to make a name for yourself in social media. Because as you guys know, if you've been on social media for any amount of time, you know there's a lot of noise out there, right? When I started Molly Knuth Media in 2016, there weren't a ton of businesses in this area. I'm in Eastern Iowa, but there weren't a lot of small businesses online yet in this area. And it was something that over the past few years has really taken off. And a lot more businesses have not only adopted this format, but have built it into their marketing strategy, which is how it should be. But with that being said, there are so many businesses out there. We want to make sure that as you get out there and either start your business and start your social media pages, or if you're already there, how do you continue to keep your business's name front of mind? How do you keep continuing to get people talking about you? Because as you guys know, if you do the same thing for your business for several years, you've got to make a pivot, right? You can't be doing the same thing all the time because your audience wants more. So how do we stand out? That's what we're going to answer today. And then at the end, I want you to stick around because I have a very exciting social media challenge that's kicking off on Wednesday. And I want you guys to sign up because it's for anybody, not just business owners, anybody who wants to make their social media feed more joyful. So that's what we're going to talk about at the end of this. So stick around till then. All right, so let's talk standing out. Like we said, there's tons of noise out there on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you are. Where you like to spend your time or where you're marketing your business. There's so much noise. How can we be heard? And the best thing you can do by far is to take a chance and take a risk, because that's how you can make a name for yourself and get people talking about you. So that chance for you is going to probably require in some way, shape, or form for you to step outside your comfort zone, right? So maybe it's finally showing up with your face on Instagram stories, talking about what it is that you sell. So let's say that you are a boutique owner and you always are showing pictures of your product that you have in store, but you're just not connecting with your audience. So maybe it'll take something as simple as getting on Instagram stories and showing yourself and why you love things. Or maybe it's going to be you, like maybe have somebody take that picture of you stocking the shelves or tagging your product. If you're a service-based business, this might be like you set up your camera and do a time lapse and it's you fixing something or helping a customer or something like that. But whatever it is, take a chance and make a name for yourself. When I started Molly Knuth Media Live, there weren't a lot of people doing these weekly live sessions, right? But I got out there and I did it, and it was so uncomfortable and I was so terrible at it. And those early videos are still on my video tab. So if you want to go back and see the horrible lives that I used to do, but they are entertaining. But my face is red because I just kept making mistakes and it was so embarrassing. And people were texting me and saying, "Oh my gosh, do you guys want," they're like, "Molly, we just saw you goof up again." And it's like, yeah, I know. So all those videos are still there if you want to see them. But I took a chance and it was super, super uncomfortable, you guys. But I did it and I kept showing up, okay? The only way I was going to get better was by continuing to show up. The second way I got better was being prepared. So I knew after the first time what it was going to take. And I knew I was going to probably mess up. And I knew people were going to text me about it and tell me about it. But what I didn't expect was like in the grocery store line, you know, and if you guys are like small towns like me, in the grocery store line is where conversation happens, or at your local coffee shop, right? So like after I did it for a few weeks, I took a short break because I was like, didn't know what to talk about. But then people were like, "Hey, Molly, I saw you live a couple times. When are you going to do that again?" And so those kind of questions are what made me realize, A, people are watching, and B, people wanted more. So make sure that you think about what it is that's going to help you make a name for yourself. Like I said, maybe that's Instagram stories. Maybe it's Facebook Lives like this. Maybe it's simply being consistent on your page. Just getting people to talk about what you're doing. Remember, social media is word of mouth on steroids. We want people to get talking about you. So what can you put out there that's going to make people talk? All right, so brainstorm it and do a lot of thinking, or maybe don't do any thinking and just launch into it and do it. But once you've made that decision to take a chance and make a name for yourself, where do you go from there? So if you are going to continue, you want to make sure that you have consistency. You want to look consistent. You want to build that great reputation, right? So consistency is going to be a consistency in your posting frequency, right? So like Molly Knuth Media Lives come to you at the same time every week, right? Unless I reschedule ahead of time. But it's consistent, consistent, consistent. Branding. That's going to be like not just your logo, but it's going to be your color scheme, your fonts, everything that you use. Now, if you are just very baseline, just starting your business, never run a business before, this might be something that you grow into, right? You're going to practice some things and you're going to figure out which softwares and apps work best. But eventually, you're going to narrow down and you're going to realize that having consistent colors and fonts and having those logo files just somewhere on your digital desktop, it makes things so much easier and simpler. Instead of sifting through all these colors of shades of red, you have your exact red that you use, you put it in the box and then it goes. Okay, so everything looks the same. It takes the guesswork out of it. And when people see these colors and fonts anywhere, they're gonna think of you. Just a couple weeks ago, I had someone reach out to me. She was visiting family in Pennsylvania, and she's like, oh my gosh, I saw this folder on the counter, and I swear I thought my sister was working with you. And I was like, she sent me a picture, and it was somebody's logo that looked similar to mine, but it's just creating that brand recognition, right? So what can you do to create that consistent branding, to create that consistency in your posting, so that after you've taken that chance and you've committed to making a name for yourself, how do you establish consistency and reputation? Secondly, if you're thinking about how can I take a chance, how can I make a name for yourself in a consistent way, one of the ways that I found, obviously, because I'm still doing it after 3 years, but how do you offer value to your customers? That's going to be something that's going to make you dependable, and it's going to give you that opportunity to be the top of mind for your potential audience, right? So how can you give some tips or some education around what you do, so you're not just talking about the products and the services that you sell, but you're also going to become that go-to, that expert in your field, so that if somebody has a question, they know that they can come to you and get that advice, or they can get that input from you. They can find information on your website to help them solve their problems. Because guys, that's what this is all about. We started these small businesses because we figured out how to help others, right? So how can we take that knowledge that we already have up here and translate it into digital assets to help our followers, okay? So tips and tricks might look like short video tutorials. It might look like a blog post. It might look like a series of posts each week that talk about different tips around a certain topic. But whatever it is, you want to start thinking about, if you're committed to making yourself and your business stand out, you need to come up with a way to offer value to your followers. Next, connect with others. So if you're like, you guys, these are all just ideas. So it's not saying that like when you launch, you need to look consistent right away. You need to offer value right away. You need to connect with others right away. Implement some of these a little bit at a time, right? So pick a couple things. These are just to get you started with establishing that name. So connecting to others means, how do you engage in community, and how do you engage socially with your followers? So community engagement, if you're in a small town like me, what I do with a lot of my clients, because they are engaged in the community, is we highlight the ways that they give back, whether it's to community organizations, community events, or schools. So we might say, like, I have an earth moving client who did a project at the local high school and helped them build a garden. So we took pictures of that, and then we use that to kind of talk about how we don't just work for clients, we also give back to the schools. Social engagement, maybe you don't have that kind of collateral or assets yet, you are just getting started, or you're trying to get that traction, then you're really going to rely on this social engagement part. So there's a group that just started a few months ago, and what she did, she really wanted to build community among business owners and small business owners, particularly female business owners. And so what she did at the beginning was didn't pay a lot for ads, didn't have a lot of community engagement to fall back on. But what she did was she reached out to potential customers. She made sure to engage with them on their Instagram posts. So she would like the Instagram post, she would send direct messages, she would respond to stories, and then her ideal clients would then take note of her name, would start following her, and then after a couple months of building that know, like, and trust up, people bought her product and her service. So if you have not community engagement to fall back on, social engagement. Everybody can socially engage with their audience and with other brands to build that, to stand out and to make people see you. Lastly, I get a lot from this kind of post, showing some of your real life, whether work or personal. And we all know that Instagram and social media can just sometimes be a highlight reel, just highlighting the greatest things that ever happened to us in our lives, right? But some of the things, whoops, oh guys, I don't know how I did that. Hold up. See, this is an example. I have a tech issue while I'm live. This is real life. All right, so show some of your real life. Not everything is going to be perfect and beautiful and pretty, right? Sometimes it's just that real life. Oh my gosh, like last week on Instagram stories, I had to just like sit in, it had been a rough morning getting the kids to school. And I think all my followers, whether here on Facebook or on Instagram, know that like not only do I have a business, but I also am raising kids. So a lot of my followers can relate to that, trying to do both things. So after a particularly strenuous morning of trying to get the kids out the door, what I did was I didn't even know I was doing it, actually. I caught myself sitting in my car for a couple minutes after I got them to school drop off, and I was just like, you guys have all been there. You just kind of like pull into your garage and you're like still listening to the kids' music, but you're just kind of like zoned out, like. And then after a couple minutes, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I've just been sitting here in the garage by myself for 3 minutes and I don't know what I'm doing. So then I posted that on Instagram, and so many people sent me messages back like, oh, I had a rough morning today too, or oh my gosh, I just caught myself doing that last week. So sometimes it's okay to throw in that like behind the scenes, like not everything is perfect. Sometimes I have these days, and it's okay to show that in your work life too. Now, obviously, if you are trying to sell products and services and establish yourself as dependable, you don't want to show like some major catastrophe or some royal mess up that you had for a customer. But you still want to show some of that real life work, that like, oh, here's my to-do list today, or here's what I got through today. Here's one of the challenges we ran into, and then spin it yourself and say like, but here's how I overcame that and got it done. So showing some of those real life challenges can really endear you and connect you with your audience too. Okay, so we ran through that really quick, but standing out in social media is all about taking a chance and getting out there ahead of it and making a name for yourself. You can do that by establishing consistency with your branding and with your posting. You can do that by providing value and education for your customers. You can do that by connecting with others, either showing the ways you engage in your physical real life community or taking time to comment, direct message, things like that with your social community. And lastly, show some of your real life, either personal or work, behind the scenes, because people love to see that, and they love to see the real challenges and not just the highlight reel. Okay, so that is what I have for you today, standing out and making a name for yourself. If you are not in Social Workers group yet, on Wednesday, I'm going to follow this up and I have a free printable for anybody who's in that group. So make sure that you're there and you can get it. Starting on Wednesday as well, I am beginning this joyful challenge. I don't know about you guys, but at the beginning of 2020, my social feeds were full of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hit this goal and hit that goal. I love goals, but I also didn't want to make people feel badly about like not having goals or not having reached their goals last year. Or I didn't want to engage in the political crap that's going on Facebook right now too, right? So I thought about it and I'm like, how can I help people? I'm going to switch this off my share screen. How can I help people? And I realized not only do I want to help business owners right now, but I just want to help the average social media user. And I want you to make your social media feeds fun again. Remember when we had social at first and we were like, oh, I can see my family members' pictures and I can connect with that person from high school that I never connected with before. And now we're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to connect with anybody. I'm like looking here because it's habit, but then I feel badly about myself when it's all done. I feel like, ooh. So That's what I'm trying to eliminate. We're going to clean up your social feeds starting on Wednesday. It's going to be just like 7 days, one small thing a day to help you like retool the algorithm so that you're not seeing crap that you don't want to see. I want to help you see the things that you love and that really truly bring joy to your hearts, to your life, so you feel like social media is good and fun again, because it is. It's really like a unique opportunity. We live in such a great time that allows us to do this, but we just need to take proactive steps and clean up our social feeds too. So we're going to do that. If you are interested, I'm going to drop this link in the comments. So when you see this link in the comments below, click it and it will take you to this page. Put in your email address and then it's going to email you with the printable sheet. But also I'm going to have a Facebook community too. And it's not going to be one of those groups where it's like, oh, now I'm just going to try to sell to you. Every day I'm just going to remind you what it is that we're doing and give you that little extra like, oh, reminder, today is the day that we're going to unfollow 4 people or whatever it is. So that you can join that Facebook group and get the daily reminders. It's just going to run from Wednesday until next Tuesday. So it's 7 days, just one small thing a day to help you enjoy social media again. So again, this will be in the comments. You can click it. I will also have posts on Instagram and Facebook to help you remind you that you can sign up, but you're just going to drop in your email address and then you'll get that printable directly to your inbox and then you can join the Facebook group. It's called Joyful January Challenge, I think is what I called it. But again, just 1 week long. And then we can archive the group so you're not getting a whole bunch of notifications. Because again, we're trying to make social media joyful, people. So I don't want to like overwhelm you with stuff. But all right, thank you so much for being here. I hope that you found it very effective and helpful. And I will see you Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. inside Social Workers. So make sure you be there. All right, thanks.